So I'm Dominic Bortolussi. I'm the founder of the working group. We're a web and mobile software company. We've been around since 2002, and we have offices here in Toronto and in New York. I'm the CEO, so my customer really is my team and making sure that everybody who works here can achieve and become the best that they are.
So being the founder, you obviously had that leadership role from the beginning. What was the moment when you realized you were actually leading a group of people and not just running a business that maybe you had founded?
Yeah, I think I had a number of really good conversations over the past 3 or 4 years, and through those conversations I discovered what type of leader I am, and I discovered that I'm a leader, a meritocracy, a democratic type of leader, a leader who asks opinions of other people and expects them to step up. Not an autocratic leader, not a me-first leader, not a top-down leader. And through that exploration, I discovered that really my customer is not my clients, my customer is my team. And that was an interesting shift because I'd always assumed that my customer was my clients, were my clients, the people that I was building software for. So that was a not so subtle shift that's happened over the last couple of years. And so I guess my recognition of my type of leadership has evolved over those past few years.
And has it changed who you are? Did you need to change any part of your personality to do that?
I mean, it's still happening now, so yes. No, I didn't need to change my personality. I needed to change my perspective on what my role was. I think until I started having those conversations, at times I was uncomfortable with my thoughts as to what a leader was. Did I need to be the top-down person commanding and barking orders out to everyone? Because that was a role and a position that I was uncomfortable in. And so it turned out to be good that I discovered that I was a different type of leader and that I lead in a different way. And so that brought with it much more comfort than what I thought I was going to have to do as a leader.
Yeah. So obviously that change required you to learn a bunch of new skills. How did you acquire those skills?
So I started working a number of ways. I started working with a coach, a life coach, I suppose, a life or leadership coach. And he introduced me to a lot of interesting literature, a lot of ways about thinking about leadership. I did it through speaking with a number of peers and people that I admire in the technology space here in Toronto and elsewhere. I did it by attending events with other, creative agency leaders, like Owner Camp, at Owner Camp. So it was a few things: reading, speaking with people who have a bit of knowledge about that, and looking within myself to try to figure out how I wanted to navigate this shift.
Great. What, as you've evolved from being just the founder to being a leader of a team of people, you have obviously had to deal with the stresses that come along with that, because it's not an easy job. Tell me a little bit about how you balance those things out and don't completely lose your mind.
Right, so one thing for me and for the working group is there's a lot of leaders here. I also have 3 other partners. There are 4 partners in the business, and they are each phenomenal leaders in their own area. We have Chris Eben here is very visible in the community, does a lot of speaking engagements, is very active in our business development. And so his leadership is very visible and sort of in the traditional corporate leader who's out there speaking and pointing in the direction. Andreas is also a phenomenal leader. He leads all of our project operations and has amazing empathy and ability to connect with people. So his leadership is really through example and through his amazing communication abilities. Jack is our technical leader, technical director. And his type of leadership is through example, by doing. He's perhaps the most dedicated worker I know, who puts his head down and solves problems with people. And he's getting really good at incorporating other people into the problem-solving system. So how have I, the question I think was initially, how have I dealt with
how did you acquire new skills, and
yeah.
which ones did you feel like you needed versus maybe the ones that your partners can take care of?
Yeah, so I think it was a bit of it was delegation in terms of leaning on my partners to be able to lead in areas that I wasn't as good at. And part of it was discovering what I am good at and the type of leader that I am. And through speaking with knowledgeable people, mentors, and reading, I developed those skills just through practice. And by setting aside about an hour each week, generally on Fridays, to do some writing and thinking about how I want to continue with that shift. So just setting aside time.
What about beyond the work space? How do you balance your life? I'm guessing you have a family, and how do you balance all that stuff out?
Right, yeah. Well, the neat thing about the working group, and probably a lot of entrepreneurs who started their own company, is that we all have planned for the working group to be our product, to be the tool that allows us to maximize our own lives. And so baked in that is the idea that we can take time off if we need to, and that the other partners are there to cover for us. That extends to everybody here at the working group. We anticipate that people have their own journeys and their own life paths that they have to take. Sometimes that means that they need to take a month off or 2 months off to go traveling. And rather than trying to hug them so tight that they never leave, we give them the comfort and flexibility to do that. And that, of course, starts at the top. So by having 4 great partners who can cover for each other, we're able to allow the flexibility that happens. I don't have any kids. Jack and Chris have kids. Andreas doesn't have any kids either. We're at totally different stages in our life growth, and we have different needs. And so having a really strong relationship between the 4 partners and making sure that we give each other the flexibility needed builds a great partnership and a great business for us.
So having 4 partners obviously has also some challenges in terms of pointing the company in the right direction. How do you guys tackle the where are we going conversation?
Yeah, so with a lot of communication, we've now shifted to a 1-hour morning meeting every morning where we have a progression of topics that we speak on. So Mondays is about projects, Tuesdays is about sales, Wednesdays is about people and team, Thursdays is about legal, office and administrative, Fridays is about vision. And by setting that side of time and by having an agenda that we continue to refine and go through, we're starting to build that regular routine of checking in with each other. That's part of it. The other part is that we discovered we needed to ensure that our own personal life visions and missions were aligned with what the working group was. And we were fortunate in that when we did that exploration, that they did in fact dovetail nicely with what the working group is all about. So we got lucky in that sense, or maybe we knew it all along and that's why we became partners. But I think that's critical. If you have a business with a number of partners, and if the objective of one person is to become a billionaire and the objective of another person is to spend a ton of time with their family and maintain a lifestyle entrepreneurship, there's going to be a conflict. So uncovering that early is probably a very wise thing. And then if you do find that you're well aligned, then building the tools and the process to keep the communication lines open and ensure that you maintain that alignment.
Great. When it comes to putting a team together, beyond just the 4 partners, how have you gone about doing that, and has it changed over time? Have your philosophies or your strategies for building that team changed?
So initially, when we were small, from 7 to 15 people, the focus when I was hiring was always on billable production people, developers, designers. I was doing the project management and Andreas was doing the project management. So every single person at the company until we were, 15 or maybe even up to 20 was pretty much production people. And the objective then was to find people that were aligned with how we work. We enjoy our work together. We ask for excellence, but we have a lot of fun doing it. So finding people that were aligned with that, who were really good at what they did, and who wanted to build a career as a master craftsman, whether that's a developer or a designer. Once we hit a certain point, somewhere after the 20s, it became painfully evident that we needed a few more types of roles built into there. More project management, or product management, an office coordinator, an office admin. Now we have an HR person. There's a number of roles that emerged over time, and so that's how the team has shifted. So now, when I'm interviewing people, I'm still looking for that lifestyle and mission fit, and cultural fit, so that we know that people will get along. But the skill set is broadened from being just an amazing designer or developer to having a lot of other types of skills.
Mm-hmm.
Project managers, now that we have dedicated project managers, it's an interesting skill set. It's like detail-oriented, people who enjoy the communication, people who are able to manage clients, and manage the accounts well. So it's a different skill set than what a developer needs to have.
Right. Are there particular qualities you're looking for in those folks?
Anyone?
Yeah, that are beyond maybe their hard skills. What are the general philosophical or soft skills that you're looking for?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble saying this, but I love hiring immigrants, first generation people. They've got all the passion of building a career in a new country, in a new place. Work ethic is amazing. The attitude is amazing. There's no self-entitlement. Mm-hmm. And this is, of course, not to say that everyone who isn't, a first generation or an immigrant doesn't have that. But and I don't go out of my way only to hire immigrants, but I find that we have a high number of people who have recently settled in Canada, or whose parents were settled in Canada. And I don't know why that is, but we all get along really well. I think maybe it's the nature of the industry that it's STEM focused. There's a lot of the science technology piece of it tends to seem to favor a lot of people from Asia, South Asia, East Asia, as well as even the Middle East. So we've got a very diverse team here, and we're trying to get it more gender balanced as well, which is another challenge.
Right.
We're sort of becoming the classic agency where all the designers, or half the designers, are women, and all the developers are men, and we're trying to change that, and we're trying to encourage that change. So that's an ongoing.
Trying to get some balance.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, if somebody was to ask you to describe the culture of the working group, how would you describe it?
A place. The working group is supposed to be. We're aiming to be the best studio in the world to learn and to work and to grow at. And the growth part is intentionally vague. It's personal growth, career growth, skill growth. Everybody here loves what they do. They want to become master craftsmen at what they do. And so we're trying to create an environment that allows that to happen. That's my objective, is to make an environment and put in the process the people that will allow everyone to become the best at what they do.
Mm. If you were to do it all over again, what would you change? What mistakes might you avoid, or obstacles might you hurdle?
I've started my transition from working in the business and doing the day-to-day and the project management and putting my fingers in the dike. I would have started the transition away from that earlier. It's easy to say in hindsight, but even now, I'll find myself, 2 hours in, asking myself, oh God, why am I doing this? I shouldn't be doing this. We have people that are much better at this than I am. I need to step back slowly and get someone to help me with this so that I can move off and do other things. So that transition is always difficult. It's a classic problem for entrepreneurs. But if I could have begun that, or if I could have recognized that earlier, it would have been better.
And going forward, what do you think the opportunity is for you as a leader and for your team of partners to, what skill sets may you still need to work on, and what are the gaps that you still need to fill? Yeah, I don't know.
I think the four partners, we need to continue to get better at, choosing a direction for the company, because it does get difficult at times when you've got four helmsmen who each have, a common direction they want to go, but different tactics about how to get there. So we need to work on that, and I don't know if that means that we should bring in an advisory board. We've been exploring that possibility to help us with those decisions, or to help put structure in place. Yeah, that would be probably the key thing.
And then lastly, just when you look at the industry as a whole, at the space that we operate in as businesses, what do you see coming down the line that are opportunities and challenges and trends?
Well, I think one thing that we're uncovering for ourselves, and I can speak to our own perspective on this, is that as the size of our clients grows, getting bigger and bigger national and international companies, we're realizing that in a vendor, they're looking for someone who provides more than just the production, more than just slaps out a design and development of a piece of software, whether it's a web or mobile product, and hands it off and supports it. They're looking for the smarts and the strategy in advance of that. And we've always provided that, but we never focused on that until recently, because our genesis was as a development shop. We were the guys behind the scenes who'd be coding the apps. And as the size of our projects has grown, and the need for that type of strategy has grown, and our recognition of that means that I think agencies are going to be able to offer more and more of that type of work in connection, in concert with the development process. And using an agile process, which is something that we've adopted over the last 3 or 4 years, the strategic thinking is very tightly intertwined with the production. Every cycle that you go through goes through a piece of strategic process and strategic thinking about what you want to develop and why you want to develop it and how to prioritize that. So educating our clients into that process, I think, is going to lead to better things, to better production, to better software. So I think that's a common theme that we've seen with a lot of our peer agencies around here, is that rather than just being the design and dev shops, they're being asked their thoughts and their expertise into how to design or what to design for a client based on their business needs.
Dom, thanks for your time. Really appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me.